In today's episode, I want to talk about three things that hold us back. Three things that I've seen recur in my own life. This year, 2022, has been absolutely incredible. Would you agree? I mean, look, if you turn around and look at the beginning of this year, who would have thought that we would have seen interest rates rise the way they've written, consumer good prices going up, gas prices are up, everything is still not well in this economy. And what I know about those of you listening, as an achiever, as a leader in your community and in your work, it's tough for everyone right now. However, as we think about closing out 2022 and moving into 2023, there's some things that have been on my mind personally, as well as in many of the meetings that I've been having for the last 6 to 8 months this year. Every meeting is a tough meeting. Every meeting, there's urgency. Every time I talk to someone, there's concern, there's frustration, there's some angst about where we are right now economically. And one thing I want to start this episode by sharing with you is a quote that I've probably said on this show, if not a half dozen times, a dozen times. But I will continue to tell you and share with you this quote until it sinks in, because it was at a moment in my life when things were at its absolute worst, which, by the way, that has happened more than one time. I don't know if you can resonate with that, but sometimes we go through those ebbs and flows of life, right? I call them storms. And I remember very vividly a storm that I was in 2008, started in 2007, kind of moved into 2009. It was a season. Let's be clear. Sometimes the storms that come at us, they don't come and go very fast. Sometimes they take some time. Sometimes that time is about one of the three reasons that we're going to talk about, one of the three things we're going to talk about today that hold us back. But I know for a fact that this quote should help you and resonate with you. And I didn't make it up. It's from one of the people that I just most admired in my journey of personal development. And it's by a man named Jim Rohn. Rest in peace, Jim Rohn. And here's the quote. It's not the blowing of the winds that determine your destination. It's the set of the sail. The same wind blows on us all. And he goes further in to say the winds of economic change, the political winds, our health winds. I mean, we are all witness to what we've all been through in the last 3 years. Started with a pandemic, started with uncertainty, it started with lockdown. Soon we ended up in, supply chain issues. We had boats sitting out in the ocean that couldn't get product onto the mainland. We moved out of that to where we could get back out. And then all of a sudden we were faced with rising consumer prices. We're faced with gas prices going up. We're faced with interest rates. I mean, we've seen housing affordability crash at probably all-time historic levels. And I spent 17 years in the real estate and lending industry prior to my latest 12 years. So I know that there's pressure, and I know that there's uncertainty, and I know that there is concern about our livelihoods going forward and what the future holds. But here's what I want to tell you. The most of us, we recognize that the storms are going to come. And another great quote you might want to write down if you're not driving is, sometimes the best thing we can do in the midst of a storm, in the middle of a storm, is to not wish the storm would go away, but to calm our mind and let the storm pass. Think about it. The storm is the storm, right? We didn't cause the storm. We didn't create the storm. All of a sudden, we woke up and found ourselves in the storm. The best thing I've learned to do over the years, and it takes practice, don't get me wrong, it takes work, it takes diligence, it takes intention, but that's who you are. You're a leader. It all takes these thought processes to be very intentional and outcome driven. The storm is what it is. Our job is to figure out, what is my job in the storm? Jim Rohn would say, it's not the blowing of the wind. The storm is the storm. It's the set of the sail. This other way of looking at it is to calm your mind until the storm passes. It doesn't mean be passive. It means calm your mind so that the storm can pass. You might say, Daryl, well, aren't these all kind of the same? Yes, but energetically, there's levels. I've learned that there's levels. Well, my company's only made a certain amount of money, so we're a small business and we just can't compete with the big companies. I don't have enough budget to hire the people that could do it right, so I'm gonna hire just anyone. Then that's an excuse. I've always been a bigger person, and so I can't just really do all that working out thing that I see some of those people do on TV. That's an excuse. Well, our family grew up eating bad food all the time, and so it's hard to develop a better, cleaner diet. That's an excuse. Well, everybody seemed to be going through this same problem, so I guess it is what it is. That's an excuse. You get my point. You're a leader here. You're a thinker. You're a thought leader. You're an achiever. You're someone who achieves at a high level. But we all get caught up sometimes in our own excuses, the stories we make up in our head, true or untrue. Sometimes these are true stories and we just hold on to the truth too long that it sabotages us. Other times we make up stories that don't even exist off of the truth. I told myself a story back in 2008, 2009 during the real estate crash when I was really going through it. And the interesting part was I believed a part of a story or an excuse that I had told myself for a period of time that was just 100% false, but because I believed it, nobody could tell me differently until I was able to shift my mind and start to believe or start to even invite the possibility that there was something different. What do I mean by that? Sometimes when our facts are our facts and our reasons are our reasons and the excuses we try to make on the back of those two things are so vividly clear in our mind that we've painted a picture that only we can see, and then we go talk to other people about that same picture until they agree, and that's actually the thing that stops us the most. But the day the breakthrough happens, the day that you start to see the breakthrough is the day that you invite yourself to believe something new. The day that you invite yourself to say, what if this is just, what if it's all, and what if I could go find someone who's not going through what I'm going through? What if I can find someone who is in my situation, who had the facts and the reasons and the conditions, and maybe was making the same excuses? You know how abundant this world is to find someone like that? You want to get unstuck? Be willing to call on your thinking. Be willing to make peace with your facts. Be willing to call out those reasons, conditions, and excuses and take the first step. And that first step is to say, what if? What if all of this was a lie? What if I made it all up? What if, starting today, I could just start taking micro steps and micro steps and micro steps until this new habit of belief is formed? And if you need help with that, I want to leave this with you. Sometimes you have to believe in the belief that other people have in you until your belief kicks in. My friend, thank you for spending time with us here on the Mindshift Podcast. These are the 3 things that I've seen hold me back over the years. I hope you think about them before we close out 2022 and head into 2023. And to get help and support in this area, stay tuned to this podcast. Share it with a friend if you know they're going through something. And be sure to be inside of the Mindshift community at mindshiftcommunity.com, where every month you can gather with us so that we can help support each other to shift our mind and shift our results. I'll see you next time. Take care.